People believe that a specific term was yelled at to JK at the airport. People also believe that he might have been tackled or hurt at the airport, as well as legs being broken trending once again. So Dumplings and Dave decide, let's get into it. Almost every day when I wake up and check the BTS community, there are all sorts of things trending. And usually one of the things that are trending lately are things that have happened previously. But there's usually one video that takes the cake for the day. One of them is, of course, none other than a moment in which JK had a severe leg injury, I believe, during the Fake Love performance. And he had to sit out, but he sat out on stage. And people were talking about how J-Hope was so sweet and actually pointed to JK during his part. So this was bringing attention back to him, even though everyone, of course, is going to be watching the dance. But it doesn't exclude JK, like it makes him feel like he's included. People were talking about how J-Hope is so kind, that he always makes people feel like they're included, and he always goes out of his way to spread kindness to people. And of course, I think it's really easy for a lot of celebrities to show kindness, because for a lot of people, no matter what they do, if something's small or big, it's going to be seen as really kind and a good gesture. Because people are always shocked when someone rich, good looking, or famous does anything. However, J-Hope's gestures are kind, even if he wasn't famous. Him kind of honoring his bandmate, him kind of just being kind in general to service workers, all of those things are genuine things that anyone should be praised for. And should we as a society praise things like that, especially nice things, when people do it? Probably not, because they're supposed to do it. But if it keeps people doing nice things, then I say why not? Fortunately, J-Hope doesn't need praise to do nice things. He is just doing those nice things, and I really love that for him. And I think that genuinely makes him such an amazing person, and a person that I can't even begin to describe how amazing he is. But of course, we have to talk about JK in this video as well, as he did not seem like he wanted to sit out during this performance, and he always wants to be able to give his performance and do the best that he can. This really shows that even when he is injured, he still at least shows up on stage for the community, so that the community knows that yes, he cannot perform, but he is still going to be there. And I think that this is absolutely so beautiful, because if I was definitely not feeling well and I had some sort of injury, I personally probably would try to get out of any obligations, right? And seeing that he does not do that, he fights it head on, he shows up, he does all of those things, I can definitely respect that. And of course, each of us have different things that we're very passionate about. I mean, if I was sick or had a fever, I would still try to turn up and make a video. So for him, it's performing, which again, I can definitely respect, because it's very hard to turn up anywhere when you're not feeling 100%. And of course, I don't just mean mentally, because it can be simple enough to hide any sort of mental or psychological feeling that you might experience. But physically feeling really bad is something that you often cannot hide. It was interesting because JK recently went to the airport and was spotted. I will get into this a little bit more later, but this came after Jimin was believed to be spotted going to the airport the day before. I believe they were both going to Japan, and a lot of people are very confused about what is going on. One of the things that people were shocked about was just the fact that they did not understand exactly why they were at the airport, because both of them are supposed to be at the military, and usually when you're in the military, you're not allowed to work. So what allows them to actually be at the airport? I don't think they were doing personal activities. I think it was work related. So that leads many to wonder what it is that the two were up to. Is it a collaboration together, or maybe with other artists? However, there were a lot of people who were saying that it seemed like the two, Jimin and JK, were up to something, maybe either romantically or collaboration wise. And a lot of people were saying, oh, this is another romantic moment that has happened. However, I don't know how true that is, as two people can definitely travel together and go to a new place without it being romantic. Also, it's interesting because they did not travel together. So if it was a collaboration, if it was something that was meant to be known as a collaboration, I believe they would have traveled together. We would have likely seen them head to the airport together, which would have made a lot of these theories actually more plausible. And I want to say this about celebrities going to the airport and then people showing up, because every time a celebrity goes to the airport and people do in fact show up, there's a lot of people who are very upset about that. The airport for K-pop stars are more so considered a press event. So a lot of the press and paparazzis that show up are informed by the label or the PR team to actually show up. The way things get kind of crazy is when words spread very rapidly outside of just those people. So that's when some celebrities might opt to not go in front of the press or not walk in front of them, because it's like things spun out so crazy that they don't feel safe actually being in front of the press. But what happens is fan sites or news sites will let other people people know about their appearance before the boys actually make the appearance, and thus a lot more people end up showing up. However, the actual whole point of these events is to get people to talk about the airport appearances, because they know that when K-pop stars fly anywhere, it's likely to do something, and it's likely to tease their comeback or something like that. So we can definitely expect that both JK and Jimin are likely going to do something very soon, and that they were allowed to take this little break from the military, as their time is almost up in the military anyway, and they're allowed to start teasing their stuff that they might do. And I can totally see them both doing some sort of subunit, or in the coming days start to see a lot of other members also making airport appearances too, while they head over to a place potentially to make more new music. I think it's all extremely exciting, and I can't wait to see what actually comes out. I think this is more so a tease on that than it is anything romantic or anything like that. So it's definitely important to understand that and know that. Now, a lot of people were also very concerned because JK was seen at the airport, and people were worried for his safety. People were concerned about a lot of the content that was circulating around, so specifically the videos and photos that showed him at the airport. A lot of people were saying that this was coming from stalkers, people recording it and leaking it, and so they were telling people to not post about it or show any of that type of content. And some people were definitely worried about the security or lack of security that was there. It seemed as if allegedly JK had just one security guard that was there. Now, given that this was his first, I guess, appearance publicly in a really long time, a lot of people were definitely concerned that he was going to get mobbed or hurt or potentially even tackled, just due to just how many people potentially miss him and have been waiting for him for such a long time, as there's only one security guard. And that is totally possible and likely has happened to people before. However, I would not necessarily worry about that, as it seems as if everyone was tame, and it seemed as if everyone was kind of fairly respectful. Now, of course, I want to remind people that those who see fan sites and news sites show up everywhere, it's not even just that they are made aware by the label over what the BTS boys would be doing, but they are usually given a press release. If you look up what a press release is, and part of what a press release is, you'll very quickly see that it's when a PR person or a person that deals with PR sends out a message to all of the media sites that they have contact with to tell them to come. Now, some media sites will require that you pay them, and then other media sites will just show up. They know that for sure a specific celebrity that will get them clicks and views is going to be there. A lot of people like to say that Dispatch has a relationship with the BTS boys, and I believe that relationship could just be that the label lets them know when BTS shows up anywhere. Fan sites are given the same thing, especially really big ones, where a label knows what photos will likely go viral and get a lot of attention. They typically get invited to these things as well. People online have said many times, oh, the BTS boys have asked for privacy over and over again to be avoided by stalkers, and yet stalkers still continuously show up at the airport. These are not the types of people that the BTS boys have ever complained about. In fact, the BTS boys themselves have often written thank you notes for the people showing up at the airport. And just a quick side note here, how many people would make fun of the BTS boys if they arrived at the airport and no photographers or media sites showed up? So do you want them to show up, or do you not want them to show up? I think people also forget that there are literally stalker laws that exist in Korea right now. And so if you are stalking BTS and stalking anybody, you will get arrested. So you're telling me that every single person that was at the airport just when JK showed up the other day is all going to get arrested? None of them are doing anything legally. Furthermore, the label or the industry as a whole has never said that the airport appearances were supposed to be a natural thing. Some K-pop idols, female ones, like to show up in high heels. Do you think they're going on the plane like that? Let me know what you think. Make sure to check out Patreon for more videos, linked down below. Thank you to this lovely comment right here. Love you, bye.